Hello, everybody. My name is Jose Molina.
I'm Holly Lang.
And welcome to our first ever podcast of In Real Time. Because you don't actually see it written down. It's not actually real as we are real, but real as in a film reel. But that doesn't mean that we are not real. We are very real.
Are we? Oh, God.
That might be another podcast.
So, this is our new podcast, Real Time, with me, the real Slim Shady.
Now, in all seriousness, we are really excited about this first episode. This is basically something that it was a long plan for us.
Yeah.
It's been kind of thought about for a very long time, and we decided...
years.
12 years? Yeah, more or less, wasn't it? Yeah. We got a microphone, which is almost essential to do this kind of stuff. Almost, because we don't really need it, actually.
We've actually been doing this for several years. We're just now recording it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been sitting in this room talking shit about film and TV for
Absolutely.
4 years?
About 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Almost once a week. Oh, no, that's a lie. Because we are very
I don't know we're lying.
We are very unreliable.
We do it all the time.
We do it all the time. Okay. Let's dive into it. We're gonna analyze to death any media text or item of TV or cinema that we fancy any particular week. So we decided to start with something which is quite relevant at this particular moment, which is, I don't know if you've heard about a very kind of, I already said relevant, you know, a very influential, that would be the word. Look at me, somebody went to college.
That 50 grand of debt was well spent, wasn't it?
Here we are trying to repay it. So and we are thinking, and we're not thinking, we're definitely going to talk about Don't Fuck With Cats. Have you heard of it? Have you seen it? Of course you have. Okay, shall I do the honors to introduce the documentary?
I would love you to.
Would you?
Not only that,
I
but
can't be bothered really. Why don't you? Why don't you? You start and then... okay.
Okay, so Don't Fuck With Cats is a documentary that came out last year about this guy who I almost don't want to name because he's already too famous.
Yeah, he is.
So let's call him Loser Maluli.
Loser feline destroyer in a bathtub. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing he does is shares a video on of him putting 2 cats into a vacuum bag and killing them.
Yeah, that one. The second one that he posted, as obviously as a provocation, if you can call it that. I think it was him drowning a kitten in the bath. So, and then the third video was him feeding a kitten, a small one, to a python.
I don't know about you, but when it came up on my Netflix, I had no idea that this was what it was.
No, me neither.
I thought it was probably just like another fucking Netflix show,
Yeah.
you know, with a 30-something single woman with some cats.
With some cats that she loved and stuff.
And more than a man.
Yeah. What also, one of the things that amazed me as I was watching it is that something that notorious, like what happens with this guy and us, that we are internet nerds, really. I consider myself an internet nerd.
Me too.
In the same way as the lady kind of identified herself too. But I didn't know anything about it.
No, I hadn't heard
anything about Luca Magnotta. I didn't know anything about the cats being killed. I didn't know anything about this guy basically doing the serious crime that he did. Didn't know anything about it.
No, me neither.
So it came up, it was a trailer, and I thought, okay, let's give it a go, you know.
Oh, okay, so you watched the trailer first.
I did watch the trailer first, yeah. And I thought, okay, I like the lady because I think she's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And she's like the one that carries the whole documentary, doesn't she?
Yes.
She's very eloquent, very clever.
Diana,
yeah. Her real name also, I think her nickname on the internet was Booty Moving.
Yeah.
Body Moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Booty Moving. Booty Moving or Body
Body
Moving?
moving. Booty moving.
Body Moving.
Body moving.
Yeah.
Body moving.
That one. Which is very self-deprecating. I mean, we love a little bit of self-deprecation.
We certainly do.
We really love it. But obviously the subject of the documentary was basically...
Savage.
Yeah, this fucking ridiculousness of the crimes committed by this already mentioned Luca Magnotta.
Old loser.
His real name wasn't that. You know that he changed it.
His name
was
actually-
Eric Clinton Kirk Newman.
Jesus Christ, that
I
is
know.
some serious white boy name.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of white privilege, ladies and gentlemen.
Eric, white privilege.
Yeah, Clinton.
Fucking
Clinton
Clinton's
Newman.
cards.
And, it's like, I mean, come on. He's got it. He actually was born to be famous. Like Clinton, Kirk, like Kirk Douglas,
Or
and
Captain
Newman,
Kirk.
or Captain Kirk, and Captain Kirk. Newman, like Paul Newman.
Yeah,
Are
like
you shitting me?
What, the salad dressing guy?
Yeah, he's made loads of money out of it.
Yeah, so
I
is
love
old
the
Luca.
ranch one. Have you tried the ranch one? It's so good. I think it's the only one that we get here in the UK.
Oh.
Because ranch is huge in America.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Everything's huge in America.
I know.
Including their asses. We
The
won't have that bit.
asses. Yeah, we're gonna cut it.
We'll cut that bit.
No, we don't really want controversy with the USA.
Sorry, America.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Yeah, please don't bomb us. We are your comrades.
Okay, so carrying on with
Back to
with the
what the fuck
back
was-
to I don't know what were we talking about. Okay.
Oh yeah, so it's a
Luca,
it's a Netflix
Luca Rocco Magnotta.
a Netflix documentary series. There were 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot sit down and watch those 3 episodes separately.
Mm-hmm.
You will watch them all in one go. So if you haven't seen this yet, I suggest you go and watch it first because this will not be spoiler free. So go away, watch it, go puke, have some therapy, come back and listen to the podcast.
Okay, go.
Oh, and
Watched it yet?
Google his gay porn after.
Yeah, yes, please do. Oh yeah, it's really easy. Couple of clicks, done. Power bottom, done.
I think we all know Pornhub have no moral compass.
Everyone is fuckable in porn.
Yeah, even
It
a
does-
cat killer.
Even a cat killer.
Yeah.
Even a person killer.
Yeah.
All
Even
of
a
them.
person with a terrible haircut.
Even a person with an imposed deep voice like this. Oh yeah, it took me some practice to find it.
Hello.
Don't I sound sexy?
I'm Luca. And I
Luca.
definitely didn't have a relationship
yeah,
with
everybody thinks that I'm ridiculously gorgeous.
But actually, I'm kind of basic looking and only slightly attractive before you know that I vacuum pack felines.
I look like your random boy band member with a spiky hair and a deep voice.
Not even Harry Styles. I'm the other one.
Just the ones that nobody remembers from NSYNC. There are a lot of documentaries on Netflix at the moment, like On Demand, about serial killers and...
There really are.
Yeah.
Like more, and I really noticed because I was doing some research for a script I was writing, and I wanted to watch stuff about serial killers and about stalkers, and it was much harder to find things since even the beginning of this year, 2020. There's been a massive surge of those kind of documentaries and programs as well, TV shows, fictional things. That was starting to happen last year, but it's really ramped up on Netflix and Amazon as well.
There is an article that I read probably about 5 or 6 months ago. I think the trend comes because now we are at a particular time where there's a lot of footage about stuff that happened in the not so far away past that people have forgotten about it. But you have enough footage to actually have something visual for people to see. It's like the witness of what happened and then put into a story, like into a narrative.
Yes.
So documentaries in the past, they didn't really have a lot of footage to actually show, but right now, for example, off the top of my head, there is that one about that guru in America that kind of abuse.
Oh, the cult
Yeah,
guy.
the cold guy. And also there is that I've been always fascinated by serial killers my whole life. I do know probably
hell
a little
yes.
bit like Luca Magnotta, but without actually taking it to that extreme, because I'm not that fame hungry and I really fucking love cats. But you know,
Yeah.
I don't really like much people though, but cats I do, and I think if you
Yeah.
are not able to kill a cat, you wouldn't be able to kill a person either. And what always fascinated me, I think that I can speak for a lot of people that are into that kind of stuff, is that how could you possibly reach a point that your brain or your life can take you to actually hurt another human being? That is something that it mystifies me because it's so not a part of who I am, and it's not a part of who anyone, I think, is. And I think that is what really fascinates. Just get to the root of that trigger.
Because it's so far removed from how most of us feel. And it's so counterintuitive. Maybe one of the reasons why it's more... why we see it more on Netflix and Amazon is because I think a lot of us felt like that, but we didn't feel like we were allowed to say it. Because when you say I'm obsessed with serial killers, you sound like a crazy person.
Yeah, you do. You know, and you have to also, not only that, you also have to cope with that stigma all your life if you say that you're into horror, for example.
Yes.
You know, and the bloodier the better.
Yes.
Because in my case, it really is the bloodier the better. You know, and that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's I think it's just an interest in human nature. That's all.
I agree.
It's a fascination for what your brain and your life could actually take you to do. And we are all somehow exposed, depending on our backgrounds, our education, the way that we are being brought up. Obviously, there are congenital stuff. There's stuff that actually comes innate with you. That is basically just a mental health issue, probably. But there are other factors that influence these serial killers. And the one that really fascinates me the most is that most of them actually did it for notoriety. There was a very important part of this succession of killings that the goal was being noticed, being famous, being someone, not allowing anybody else to be anyone, which is interesting in itself. So yeah, Don't Fuck With Cats is basically documentary about, how would you qualify it? I would say that, yes, it is about social killers, but I think the essence of it is basically the influence of social media in any aspect. There is, I think, the whole planning and the narrative of the documentary is focused on the way that we behave on social media.
Yes.
The ones that are trying to track the guy that killed the cats. Also, social media was the starting point of that hunt, and it was the tool of the guy to succeed doing what he was doing, which is basically finding that notoriety that we talked about.
You know, there are some rules with the internet. They call this Rule 0. So you can share, like, 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah.
You can share, you know, somebody smashing themselves in the face with it. Like, what's that lip challenge or whatever? You know,
the lip challenge, the thingy that they put. Oh, yeah, what the fuck is that?
Like that thing you do at primary school.
Yeah.
Where you put something in your mouth and then...
Look what happens to me. Yeah, and then they end up with these massive burns. And, yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? That's all fine.
Yeah.
But what you can't do is fuck with cats.
You never fuck with cats.
So this video got shared on this group on Facebook, and then this amazing woman created this group, which was called Find the Kitten Vacuumer for Great Justice, which sounds like something you'd get in a fortune cookie.
Yeah. For great justice. It's also something that Buzz Lightyear would say. Yeah,
It sounds like it's translated back into English.
Yeah, a little bit.
For great justice.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I mean, the justice needed to be done. So, cats, you don't. No. Really. You don't.
People went crazy.
Of course.
But how did we not see this? You're right. How did we not? And
I don't understand.
Like, did you know about this before the documentary?
No, I didn't. Well, I mean, I'm not... Yeah, as I said, when I said that I was a kind of internet nerd, I'm not... I mean, I do love animals and stuff, but I'm not in internet forums about animal rights, for example.
That's true.
So I'm not really... I'm more into this, just watching films and reading about films and talk about films, you know?
And wank over.
And wank over films.
Eat, sleep, inject films.
Films. And write about films.
And make podcasts about films.
And all that. But not about kittens. No. So, yeah.
But also, videos like this do come up for me. And I just go, and click away. Which is very irresponsible. This is what made me think about. This woman got this video, and instead of doing what we all want to do, which is A, not watch it, and B, go, oh, that's not my responsibility. Someone else, the imagined internet police will deal with that.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, don't exist.
They don't really, because I mean, proven in the documentary. I mean, these people were truly the internet police.
Yes.
I mean, their investigation was a lot more advanced than the police investigation. The police were constantly ignoring the tips to find the right guy when they already got him. When they already investigated the videos, they checked every single detail.
Yes.
They found the location of the guy. They found where he was, who he was,
Yeah.
what he did,
Yeah.
and the police did nothing.
So the point is that actually, if we took a little bit more responsibility as people using the internet over not just the stuff we want to see, but the stuff we don't want to see, then this stuff wouldn't be shared as often. And no, there is no imaginary internet police, except for these group of people who made this Facebook group, and they did some incredible things. What I loved about this documentary was the detective aspect.
Oh, yeah.
So like they decided to try and find out who this guy was. There was no way of finding out where he was. So they started doing things like checking the plug sockets. Because obviously you have different plug sockets. We all know this from going on holiday and going, oh, fuck, I've got to I'm going to get my adapter out. And they did that. And then there was the cigarette.
And the doorknobs.
The doorknobs.
Yeah. The doorknobs, yeah.
Which is crazy, right? Well, that's so clever. I feel like, or maybe I'm really stupid, but I feel like that's really clever.
Yeah, but I don't think it never even occurred to me, really, I think, to do something like that. But I don't really know if I would go to the bottom of a story like that. Unless I don't really know what I would have done. I don't really know. But yeah, I thought it was really, really fucking clever.
Yeah, they really Clark Kented that shit. They literally, like, they were checking. He has a cigarette in the first video. So it's like a hooded boy. He looks really young. And he's got a cigarette. And they checked, like, the types of cigarettes sold in different countries.
Yeah.
And whether that looks like an English filter or whether it looks like... And that meant...
They found that there was a North American one.
Yeah. And that's because the whole internet got involved. Like, loads and loads of people joined this Facebook group, and they were all sharing this video and zoomed in images. They were going frame for frame. And because they did all that, they got so much information from this video. Because in a way, he was leaving a trail of breadcrumbs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, digital breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the whole point of the whole story, that with social media, the way that all our lives are connected, you can't actually stay in the shadows. In this case, Luca Magnotta wanted to be notorious.
Yes.
So he already used that particular tool to become what he became and to be caught, because that's what he wanted. So... He actually made it easy, if that makes sense.
Yes. He made it difficult so that it was interesting.
Yeah.
And it took a while for him to be caught. But actually, the frequency and the information in the videos was more and more. So he was clearly, he was leading everybody along.
Yeah.
He did things like joined the Facebook group, which is terrifying.
I know, terrifying.
So then there was so then this group were doing all this stuff, and then the police were ignoring them. You imagine as well, like, this is what I was thinking, you imagine that the police would have that video and would be zooming in on it. You'd imagine there's like a whole department that, again, doesn't clearly exist, of like internet
of internet weirdos.
Yeah, of people like Willow from Buffy who were plucked out of college and taken straight to this, FBI room of
and then
crazy.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just find your own way. Yeah.
Like the same people that you imagine are listening, like when you Google, I don't know, Marxist propaganda, and you imagine that it's being red flagged by some room of like American clean-cut men who are going, someone's a Marxist, sir. Like,
let's take them out of the country.
She's put up another feminist video on Facebook, sir. She's a threat to national security.
Stop with that woman rights bullshit.
Plus, she's looked at some slightly questionable porn. It's not illegal, but it's definitely amoral.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yeah, they don't exist.
No, they don't.
So yeah, then there were 2 more videos.
The second one that he posted, as obviously as a provocation, if you can call it that, I think it was him drowning a kitten in the bath. So haven't seen the videos, never will.
Me neither.
Although they are basically, as I said, 2 clicks away, like his spawn, like the one he did, because he was kind of trying to make his way through porn to become famous, and not only porn but also modeling and that kind of stuff.
But he also had all those fake fan accounts for himself.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, millions of accounts.
Millions.
Yeah, like hundreds. Yeah.
And they found out that they were all written by him and created by him, and you can tell because of the language. Because when you do script writing at fucking university, the most useless degree ever. One of the first.
Oh yeah, it really is.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You'll end up being podcasting.
Yeah. Stuck in a room.
Yeah, with no money.
No money. No future. No friends.
There's actually only one person here. We're just pitching up one part of my voice. Sound like I've got a friend. So yeah, we did this degree. And in screenwriting, they tell you the hardest thing is to write 2 distinct characters' voices. Because you naturally have a way of speaking. You naturally have a vocabulary. So you have to think about every single word you use and try and make it something that you wouldn't say.
You wouldn't,
And Luca isn't clever enough for that.
Yeah.
So when you look at the posts, they're all him going, "You're hot, babe. Oh my god, babe, you're so hot.
Oh my god, baby, it's so hot." And then there was kind of, he always, mystifyingly, he actually put a comma, and then before a comma he actually put a space.
Yes.
After, didn't he?
Yes.
Before putting a comma or before putting a full stop.
Right.
Or writing a full stop, he put a space.
So it's sentence structure, it's vocabulary, it's grammar.
And lexic, the way the words that he used, all that stuff.
All that stuff. So it's all just him posting crazy fan sites about this guy who isn't famous. He was desperate for fame,
but spoke like him.
I want to be famous.
Want to be famous.
I'm not hot enough, so I'm gonna kill some cats.
Yeah, and then probably a person. But let's see how it goes.
We'll just see. It's okay because my mom will still think I'm cool.
Yeah, because there's this guy that is making me do it.
Yeah, imaginary Manny. Imaginary Manny. I'm gonna start blaming him for all the shit.
Oh, shall we call this podcast Imaginary Manny?
Imaginary Manny. Right, we just came up with the jingle, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Exclusive
for you. Yeah. Although, no, I think we thought that this episode very, very eloquently and not eloquently, very adequately. I want you to cut that because I don't really want people to know that I don't really speak well. That this is just a pose. It's taking me hours to actually come up with one word. Yeah, the editing is gonna be massive. No, we decided to call it 2 Clowns, 1 Lunatic. Because
don't say anything. It's fine. It's fine that we called it that.
It is fine. It is absolutely fine.
We're fine with it.
We're 2 clowns. There's 1 lunatic to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, there are a million lunatics to talk about, but
Let's start with this one.
Oh yeah, did you see? We watched the videos the other day, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Maybe did.
You have no idea how hard it is to actually have the huge curiosity that I had about seeing this guy doing porn and also knowing what this guy did before that. I mean,
right.
No, after that, sorry.
But this is the thing that we're not allowed to talk about, isn't it? Tell me that porn that he did hasn't had 57 million more hits since this documentary. And for me, I don't find him attractive, and neither do you.
Oh no, in any way.
So it's not let's watch the hot psychopath. It's how can somebody be a human who does normal things like has sex and eats and brushes his teeth and has a conversation, and then he goes and does this thing. That's what it is. That is,
yeah. It's that morbid fascination because you think, okay, this is just the guy sucking a cock.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Something that we've all done.
Terribly badly, by the way, because I think he's a terrible, terrible blower. Do you remember? What the fuck was that?
That's why he's so inadequate.
It's like somebody trying to eat a baguette. You know, like from the corner. You know,
Someone who doesn't like baguette.
yeah, somebody imagine somebody that doesn't like baguettes and tries to suck it, you know, instead of biting in it, and then it kind of goes a little bit weird, you know, putting this kind of clinchy, weird faces.
The thing is, as well, is there's a kind of empathy with the people that he did the porn with. One of the reasons I'm obsessed with serial killers is I'm obsessed with not getting killed by one.
Absolutely.
And I'm obsessed with, could I escape? What mistakes do people make?
Yeah. And also, you really want to know actually the traits. It's not like we are constantly surrounded by serial killers, because
No,
this
they're
is
very
something,
rare.
and they are very rare, and obviously that's why they are notorious, because
Yes.
it's basically like plane crashes, isn't it? I mean, they are so rare that they always get the news, they're always on the headlines, all that kind of stuff. So with this is exactly the same, but because you really want to know the signs. Would I know that the person that I just met, you know, down the pub is a serial killer? Would I know that this guy that I just hooked up with is gonna basically fucking kill me after
Yeah, could I have seen little red flags if I've watched enough of this stuff? Will I see the red flag? But then that gets into the territory of then you start seeing red flags that aren't there, which is the problem with watching too much of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are some behaviours, which is, we'll talk about next week, we're going to talk about You. There are some behaviours...
I mean, not me, guys. We're talking about the show You.
No, we're going to talk about You.
I would love to talk about me, by the way. But no. We're going to talk about the Netflix show You.
It's probably a good idea to tell them that.
Yeah,
That's true. So I feel like there's a lot of very toxic male behaviors that the absolute worst case scenario of is this kind of behavior. So therefore you would note, I mean, we have a narcissist for a prime minister right now.
Yeah.
There is a narcissist in the White House.
Yeah.
There has always been usually a narcissist
There's
running
always
Russia.
there's always been a narcissist running anything.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it is, isn't it? Just the notoriety, just loving the sound of your own voice, loving the way that you think, and trying to make people think the way that you do. So
Yes.
that's basically been a part of any fucking leader, and I'm talking about male leaders, obviously,
Yes.
because it's basically the ones that we always had.
Well, and you've got Maggie Thatcher thrown in
Oh,
there.
yeah, but she was basically a man.
Token woman.
Yeah,
Let's call her Token.
Yeah, I always found it fascinating, you know, especially ultra-conservative women that are in power, that they adopt male traits to actually do their craft.
Do you think she was just a dom?
Yeah.
It just suddenly occurred to me.
I don't really see her as a sub. She doesn't read sub.
That's the fucking definition of a power top.
Yeah, let's find the music.
Right, where
done.
are we going? So,
Okay, where are we?
Okay, so we've said that he killed the cats. We've said he was famous, but not really. Then we haven't talked about him
He
killing...
was famous, but not really.
Yeah, in his own mind.
Yeah. They managed to have a tip, the internet group that we already mentioned. I think there was a tip from somebody anonymous saying that the guy that they were looking for was this guy. And then they already had their name, and they checked, and they kind of corroborated that it was him. After that, the worst thing happened, actually.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a little bit gruesome just to even think about it.
So the last video is him killing a human. And he uploaded it, you know, so it got uploaded into this Facebook group, and this was a thing that they all clicked on and had to watch, was him killing a human. And
I have to say that he actually uploaded it. He uploaded the video on a Canadian website. It's basically a website where people uploaded videos of real gore. Real gory
so
stuff.
accidents
and
fights.
Executions, mutilations, you know, like Islamic law videos, all that kind of stuff. The creator of the website, the owner of the website, actually got prosecuted for allowing this video to be put up. So the website where he posted the video was called bestgo.com, I think. And yeah, the guy got prosecuted.
Well, we do like to blame Canada.
And we do, yeah. We do like
everything.
to blame Canada for everything.
So he posted the video, he got caught basically in the end. So the police fucked up, but they didn't listen to the internet nerds, but eventually the guy got caught. Now, like we were talking about the fact we were talking amongst ourselves about his obsession with films, and I think as two film nerds that kind of hit home with us.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So let's talk about the kind of films that Luca and we really like.
Yeah, but guys, I don't want you to think that we are basically killing cats and not showing the videos.
No.
Because that is definitely not our motto. But yeah, I do have an obsession for 90s thrillers like he did as well. Massive fan of Basic Instinct. Massive fan of Sleeping with the Enemy, especially females and damsels in distress.
Oh.
Yeah.
I liked Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Oh, yeah, that is just...
That fucked me up.
Rebecca De Mornay, she's incredible in it. Yeah.
She's so scary.
Yeah, I know. Wonderful script.
I think Luca saw himself as one of those women. So obviously there's his mum. Can we talk about his mum quick? I don't want to blame women for things. I don't want to blame mums for things. But this guy had already been caught for murder, and she's on the documentary saying that the people that helped catch this murderer who she birthed are just as bad.
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't have stalked him and invaded his privacy.
So apparently, reacting to a psycho killing cats and a human being and posting it on the internet is basically just as bad. Or these people apparently encourage him. No, madam. I'm really sorry, but I think that's...
I mean, I'm not saying that you did anything to make your son like this at all. That's not true. We all know that's not true. That you can just be born like this and you could have frontal lobe damage. But just, once your kid has killed a bunch of cats and a person, you might want to accept that your kid probably got something wrong with them, and that it might not be everyone else's fault.
Or you probably just analyze the facts. Your kid killed a person and 3 kittens in the process. So...
he's not really a victim.
I know. I mean, no.
She's like, oh, not my Luca.
Yeah,
And it's like,
no.
Jesus, lady.
It was Manny. Let's go back to the Manny thing, because I think it's just fascinating.
Imaginary Manny.
Imaginary Manny.
Imaginary Manny. He takes the blame for everything. He's the reason that you got drunk that night and slept with your best friend's wife.
Yeah, but this is basically like taking the imaginary friend to the extreme, isn't it? Yeah. I have this man that pays me to have sex with, and he actually makes me do all these bad things. Yeah.
Mob boss Manny.
Wonderful.
Isn't it the guy from... it's like from a film, isn't it?
Yeah, from Basic Instinct.
Yeah, it's from Basic Instinct.
Yeah. The guy, the abusive boyfriend of Catherine Trammell, the character of Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, his name was Manny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he literally took that...
Manny Vasquez. Yeah.
And then this woman is like, oh, my son was so loving. He bought me all these things, including this Basic Instinct fucking keychain.
Yeah.
And it's like...
because he likes Basic Instinct.
yeah, he really likes it, which might be why the video was called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, not why we should all see him as this cute little blonde victim.
The fucker... even the real weapon was actually a screwdriver, but he fashioned it to look like an ice pick.
I mean, he's in Canada.
Yeah.
Surely he can buy an ice pick.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's all about ice and snow, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
I mean, come on.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why you couldn't... I mean, I can buy an ice pick.
I can buy an ice pick. I think, okay, let's do an internet search. I'm sure that we can find an ice pick on Amazon.
Ice pick.
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Right,
I don't know, probably after them.
We're actually doing
Probably,
it.
oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. Okay.
Guys, just
oh,
bear
no,
with
this
us.
is wrong Amazon. This is Prime. Sorry, guys. Ice pick tool. Ice pick tool. Okay. I speak
FBI
for
agents.
a tool. I speak for a tool. Oh yeah, there are
There
hundreds.
you go, $7.99.
Oh wow, there is one for $24.99 here, Japanese style.
I mean,
stainless steel.
all he had to do was suck one dick very
I know.
disappointingly, and he would have had the money.
I think he wanted the specific metal-looking one, but I think he wanted, the handle of the one used by Sharon Stone is a kind of a metal, kind of silvery looking really fashionable one.
So it was for the aesthetic.
I guess so, yeah.
Which
he wanted it to be authentic.
I wonder who that's for. Do you
I
know what I
don't
mean?
know.
Who do you think that's for? Who do you think that Luca imagined as his audience
Yeah.
for these videos? Like
Well-
some film nerd that's like, that ice pick's very right. Like, that's bang
That looks
on.
really that's bang. Yeah.
You know, Sharon Stone puts it on
Yeah.
her Twitter.
Did you get the whole Basic Instinct reference? Because the big reveal of the documentary at the end is that he created a particular kind of storyline surrounding the crime and his persona that was mimicking Catherine Trammell's personality in Basic Instinct.
Right.
And then the big reveal was basically like a fast edit at the end of everything that you've watched that was exactly a copy of the film.
Yeah.
You know, like him crossing the legs in the interrogation room, the ice pick, the conversations that he had, the kind of have a cigarette. You know, what are you gonna do?
Room.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna arrest me for smoking? You know, that Sharon Stoney interrogation room thing and stuff. All that was almost like a big reveal. Like, no, this guy is actually crazy. I mean, this guy is basically creating a narrative of a film that he loves for himself.
Well, okay, so you could then take that to the place of, like, if you're a conservative, which apparently Luca was at some point, which is definitely the reason why he's a serial killer.
Do we like gay conservatives? No, we don't.
What do we think about gay conservatives?
What do we think about gay conservatives, guys?
Answers on a postcard to self-hating crazy person. P.O. Box, oh my fucking god.
Those are the consequences of being gay and conservative.
Yeah.
You end up killing fucking cats.
Yeah.
Kids, don't do it.
When's the last time you got a liberal serial killer, huh?
No. In general,
I'm
guys.
not even joking as well. Like,
no, we
not
are
even
not.
joking.
We
that
are not.
shit is psychopathic.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Out
so
of your minds.
If you were a conservative and you read this story or watched this documentary, I feel like your conclusion would be it's the film's fault.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that Luca has done the worst thing, which he has done. The film, he's not just broken code zero on the killing the cats, he's broken the code zero on being a film nerd, which is you're allowing people to believe this narrative that violent film and media will create violent behaviour, which, as we all fucking know,
it doesn't.
I've managed to watch Basic Instinct a whole shit ton of times and never kill anyone with an ice pick.
And I make my eyes with a fucking ice tray like everybody else. Or ice bags that are really handy, by the way. They're flexible, no spillage. Wonderful.
Flexible.
It's true. They're flexible. You can actually fold them down and put them in the fucking drawer.
Our podcast is sponsored by Icy Foldy Trays.
Yeah. Found in any Iceland near you.
Freaked out by ice picks after Don't Fuck With Cats? Get a bendy foldy ice tray from Timmel.
Ta-da!
Ice sold separately. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it annoys me because it's the same thing as, like, the whole Jamie Bolger thing of the idea that the fact that they watch Child's Play. Like, these people, you know, if you look at Luca Magnotta's past and who he was anyway, there would have been indicators. Like, if you did a fucking brain scan on that kid when he was 6, you may have already been able to see. Because it's things like there's a bit of your brain for empathy that's damaged. There's a bit of your brain for risk and reward that's usually bigger in somebody that commits crime. There's all sorts of indicators. And then if there was some kind of head trauma, that would contribute towards this happening.
If our fascination to understand serial killers, or not only to understand serial killers, to understand human nature in terms of, you know, committing these kind of crimes. What do you think was what happened to him? Although there's no justification, because there's no reason, I think, for justifying it, or not even analyzing it. I don't think he deserves to be analyzed in that way. But what I'm interested to know, I'm still a little bit baffled about what actually makes you go ahead and do something like that. In his case, specifically.
I think
Specifically.
the problem you would have with analysing somebody like him, and it's the problem they had it with Ted Bundy
Yeah.
and lots of other killers, is that because the very nature of these people is so fucking narcissistic. Like, for example, particularly Luca is so obsessed with this version of himself that really doesn't exist. He created a version of himself. And
A
that's
version of himself that he wanted to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've only got to look
But
at
we
his...
all do that.
We do, but in
We all
his
do
case,
that.
you know, there's that ability that we all have, particularly in like therapy or with our very close friends, where we drop all that sometimes. You know, where we actually just are kind of who we are. And I think the problem would be that, say you're like, I don't know, a criminal psychologist and you're going into a prison to interview someone like Luca after the fact. He's just going to tell you a load of bullshit. It happens all the time. People go and try and interview. This is the problem with finding out about why people are psychopaths. It's because psychopaths chat shit about themselves. They lie about the crimes. They lie about their motivations. You've only got to watch like one serial killer documentary, and their version of what happened compared to what actually happened
It's
completely different.
Yeah.
It's always made more palatable.
It's delusional.
It's delusional. So how the hell are we supposed to know when someone like Luca is actually giving us an insight? His narrative is so well thought out and so designed. And that would be, he'd be playing a game like he was in that fucking interview.
What is interesting is that we are, you know, we're basically kind of using the word narrative kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And in this case, is a real narrative. Is a real. It actually fits the proper context of it, because he was so into films that he actually brought that to reality. So he created a fiction within his own reality, which I think is fucking fascinating.
And it's so good that we are going to talk about that Netflix show You next week, because that's exactly what that's about. So it's about that idea that, you know, like in You, the character, I feel like he feels like he lives in a fucking romantic comedy. And that's how he acts, like a character in a romantic comedy, although he's doing disgusting things.
Absolutely.
And I think that is a very interesting symptom of mental health that maybe is kind of modern, because it's to do with film and TV. But actually, there would have been another version of it before that. It would have come out in some other way. These things are there inherently, and then the symptoms change depending on the cultural context, depending on their outlook and the technology. And, you know, you would have been writing scary poems, and now you'd be writing scary blog posts.
Yes.
That's all it is. The thing changes, but does that essential behaviour change? Not really. You know, you've only got to look at, like, what's the Victorian dude, killer, strangler, man?
You mean Jack the Ripper?
Jack the Ripper. Is there any particular difference between Luca and Jack the Ripper?
No, there isn't. It's just the times.
Yeah, it's just the times.
It's just the times
They
and
both
the
wanted to be
tools.
famous. They both killed.
Absolutely, and they all had,
killed people that they couldn't fight back.
The people. I'm not sure if this is actually proven or not, but he had his signature. Then he always left a rose. You know, for him, instead of being a video, it was a rose.
Exactly, because but it would have been a video if
It would have been a
existed
video.
now.
Yeah.
That's it. The video is Lucas
for
Rose.
Jeffrey Dahmer. It would have been a video as well,
Yeah.
instead of Polaroid pictures like he took.
Yeah.
Because he took hundreds of them of the body parts of his victims in the fridge, in the apartment, in the I think he had like tanks of solution where he was kind of dissolving all the body parts and stuff, and he took pictures. He actually documented everything for himself or for the people that actually found all that evidence. So yeah, that now. Interestingly enough, we've been talking about the human being that he killed, but we haven't actually named him, which is something that we just read on a forum, that there was some sort of nothingness going on around the persona of Jun Ling, which was the name of this Chinese student, university student that was studying in Montreal, was it?
Yeah.
The guy that he actually hooked up with through a Craigslist ad, I think. Jun Ling seems to be forgotten almost in the documentary.
Yes.
Not forgotten, but seems to be like he's basically put there as the victim that triggered, you know, the manhunt for Luca, instead of probably focusing more in the humane aspect of his persona. So it was more from the moment that he killed a human being, then the police enters in the picture, and then it becomes this thriller-like a manhunt through the world, Paris, Berlin,
CCTV,
you know,
it's all CCTV, isn't it?
all CCTV and stuff. And then there isn't a particular kind of I'm not going to say empathy because I think it's a little bit strong, but there isn't a particular kind of focus on his persona.
We get his best friend, don't we, talking a little bit, but we don't get much about what sort of a person he was. We get that he was like quiet. We get that he was really kind, that he was maybe not out. You know, that maybe like he moved to Montreal, as a lot of people do, move to kind of places that are a bit more gay friendly, just to be able to live out. And I think there's a sadness to that story that isn't explored. Some of us can kind of relate to that thing of being quite repressed by your culture or by your parents or whatever. And then going off to university and going, oh my God, like I'm going to go somewhere where no one gives a shit. And then, like, we live in Brighton, you know, so people come here from all over just to be allowed to be
gay or whatever they want to be.
Anything. Or wear their pyjamas out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and be white and have dreadlocks, even though I don't. I'm not a big fan of that one, but, you know, you do you, babe.
You do your stuff.
Do you.
You do you. Yes. Our next podcast might be just films that introduce dreadlocks
or cultural appropriation-y films.
Cultural appropriation-y films that we are really into that. Although, could it be considered that I'm culturally appropriating something living in a foreign country? Probably not. No.
I don't know. Do you watch football and eat pies?
I don't. Definitely not.
Well, no, then. Although I do have castanets and I do bullfighting.
Oh, that's
cool, right?
That's really cool. I love killing bulls for no reason.
I do.
And celebrating it.
Yeah, and that's okay, but killing cats is bad.
Absolutely. What's the excuse there? Because, you know, they are basically brought up to do that. Well, in the same way that, you know, that cows are basically brought up to be eaten. Those bulls are basically brought up to be killed.
I think the bulls might disagree.
With an audience, yeah.
Especially the one who wanted to work in a china shop. I'm sorry.
Especially that one, yeah.
Oh
that was
God.
a little bit cheesy, but you know, it's been a long time doing this podcast, guys.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 6 hours. Yeah. Let us out. We're trapped in a room.
Please. We're just talking about dreadlocks and bulls now.
What?
We're going completely off topic.
Don't fuck with cats.
Don't fuck with cats. I think the jingle had a different song and notes that we're singing now. I think we forgot about it.
Did you fuck with cats? I don't know.
Did you fuck with cats? You came up with a really good one. You know, Luke. You know, it was. Wasn't it Tropicana? Club Tropicana?
Oh, wait.
No, it wasn't Club Tropicana. It was the other one. Copacabana. It was Luca Magnotta.
That was it. His name was Luca Magnotta. And he killed a bunch of cats, and we're not okay with that.
No, we're not. What was your question?
Okay, my question was this.
Yeah.
We both agree that we don't think that Luca Magnotta's actual reason for doing this was particularly sexual. So do you think that his sexuality was kind of incidental to his victim? That maybe that's how he lured the guy?
He actually worked for the sex industry.
Yeah.
So sex was basically a part of who he was already. But I don't think his goal there was basically, he didn't really want to have sex with John Lee. He wanted to kill him. So, and the setup was sexual because it was a part of the fantasy. Because Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct, every single, although it's kind of an open ending, you don't really know exactly if she is still the serial killer in that film. There is a kind of an ambiguous way of showing that character. But you always assume that she kills her victims while they're having sex. Because that's exactly how the film goes. So I think in his own obsession with that, he created that sexual environment.
I don't think his sexuality is particularly relevant, other than our reaction to it.
Yeah.
So our reaction to Jeffrey Dahmer and to Luca Magnotta and is that
any other.
But there aren't very many, so it's like we've got a lot, but we've got a lot in media. We have a lot of gay murderer characters.
Yeah, there are.
And do you think that is to do with a judgment call from conservative media and conservative ideas, or do you think it's to do with an obsession with homosexuality that is not explored? Or do you think it's all those things? Do you think there's a kind of a feeling of do you think there's a self-hatred in it?
What I think is that it's basically the fascination for the other within the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there is a particular kind of fascination for anything that it's not the norm, and I am basically pointing very big quotes here, the very big, massive air quotes.
Yeah.
Back to Basic Instinct. I do remember because I went to see it to the cinema. Yes, I am that old. I went to see it to the cinema when it released, and I do remember at the time there was a massive controversy surrounding it.
Okay.
Because Catherine Tremel's character is bisexual. So, an openly bisexual female. So, they were, back in the day, the LGBT rights movement created a massive kind of backlash campaign against the film because of the way Hollywood portrayed LGBT characters. And in this case, they were basically portraying a female that was bisexual, that had sex with people of their same gender, as a killer, as an evil bitch.
Because female sexuality in itself is always
it is already
anyway.
controversial.
Yeah.
So if you have a female that is openly enjoying their sexuality in the way that Catherine Tremel does,
she blatantly will kill
then
people with
she
an ice
will
pick.
definitely be susceptible of that,
Yeah.
and more,
Scary, sexy bitch.
So yes, there is a
Yeah.
connection. There is a connection.
That's interesting because he said himself that he was bisexual. He made up a fake story about him having a relationship with that woman whose name we need to Google.
Yeah, we have to. Carla Homolka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Her name is Carla Homolka. Yeah.
okay, so basically Luca made up this like fake news story about him having a relationship with Carla.
She's actually known as Carla Homolka.
Okay.
Because she married a guy called Paul Bernardo. So between them, they lured and groomed females. In the beginning, the accusation was towards Paul Bernardo, and then she said that she didn't really know about it. But then over the course of the investigation, they found out that she was as involved in the crimes as he was, and even more probably. And they killed, I think, 3 teenage girls, including Carla Homolka's sister, because she was madly jealous of her relationship with her then husband, Paul Bernardo. So, I think he associated himself with this lady.
He created a whole fake news story about him having a relationship with her, and then did like a press conference, didn't he, with like a local newspaper to dispel the claims that had never been made, obviously, which is hilarious because it's that whole thing of he was his own publicist. Like, he would create the bad press and then answer it. But actually that's great because it served 2 things for him. A, made him fucking famous.
The motherfucker gave a tip of where he was. I think when he came to Britain, like to the Daily Mail editor or something. I heard that this guy is here. And it was actually him.
The Daily Mail journalists picked their knuckles up off the floor and dragged their disgusting carcasses over to Luca Magnotta's hotel room and took some pictures. And that day, the front page was about Luca Magnotta rather than about single mums digging up Diana.
Yeah, or just black people being bad, or just foreigners coming here and invading.
Single mum immigrants digging up Diana.
Yeah, and it's all the immigration, isn't it? All the
Markle.
Jobs. Oh, Meghan Markle, bless her.
She single-handedly killed a whole group of people by buying an avocado. Right, so he's fucking nuts. Don't fuck with cats. I'm going to ask you, Jose, how binge-worthy was it? Did you watch it all in one go? Did Netflix tell you to go to bed? How much did you just annihilate this program?
I devoured it in one go.
Right.
And I felt really bad because I started watching it with my partner, and my partner watched only the first episode, and then he went to bed, and then he told me, please don't carry on watching it because I always lie. So I remember when we were watching Game of Thrones, because we picked up on the whole Game of Thrones craze quite late, so we kind of had a marathon of Game of Thrones before the last series was shown. And then I was always like 3 or 4 episodes, ahead. And I always lied.
What, and
and
just
I
pretended
sat
you
there
hadn't
pretending
seen
that
it?
I hadn't seen them. My reactions were all, can you imagine, all fake. Oh my God, I can't believe this guy just died. And I just lied there.
I think maybe Laura, someone else told me to watch it,
Okay.
right? So I had it on recommendation, but I didn't know anything about it.
Okay,
Because the best thing that the person that told me to watch it was they didn't tell me anything.
Yes, correct.
And then I watched it and that was it. We stayed up. We basically stayed up till midnight.
Absolutely.
And just watched it all. Because I just had to see if they caught him.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stand the idea that after all that detective work and all that stuff that he could still be out there and that he could have outsmarted us, because that would make him so fucking happy as well.
There was a part of me that thought, please let it be fake. That this really isn't.
Oh, I didn't even consider that.
I did. There was a moment where I thought, okay, cats maybe, but please let this not be real. So I thought it was just my own comfort while I was watching it. I was so shocked about how everything developed. Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was going that way.
Me neither. It's good. It's a good documentary, guys. If you haven't seen it, go for it.
And if you haven't seen it, then you might as well not bother now because we told you everything
absolutely.
that happens.
So I think it's fucking pointless that we're
You should've
warning on
watched
Yao.
Why didn't you watch it? What the fuck's wrong with you, man? Come on, go watch it.
Yeah, it's a bit pointless now, guys, because we don't really want to romanticize his figure, and obviously this podcast has been very Luca heavy. Forget about everything that you've heard. This podcast doesn't exist. We don't exist. Don't talk about him. Don't think about him. Don't give him the attention that he wants, because I think we've already done enough. So
I think what we need to take from this documentary is how brilliantly that crime was solved, and that this should be a warning. This should be a warning to people like that. It's not just the police you need to worry about. If you do things like that, we as society, we will not accept it. We as the internet nerds will find you. We will track you down.
And we'll kill you.
All right, we won't
So
kill
yeah,
you.
we are so open. Well, we won't kill. We're not serious about that. But you know what I mean. I mean, we might probably kill you in a kind of more metaphorical sense.
Yes, in a psychological way.
Yeah, basically with
will
our
end
tongues. With our tongues.
So this
and
is what
our
and our
words.
keyboards.
Yeah.
So this is what we're saying is like what you should take from this and what we took from it is, fuck Luca Magnotta. The point here is you can't get away with this stuff. People won't let you. Don't fuck with cats. Don't fuck with people. Don't fuck with the internet,
And
man.
especially don't fuck with us.
Yeah. Boom!
Boom.
Mic drop! Next week, we'll be talking about the extremely popular series You on Netflix.
So if you're interested, you know that you can basically just tune and just listen to these two clowns basically without an I speak this time. And we are open to any agreement, disagreement, suggestion, or any critique that you have about our podcast. We'll greatly receive it and we'll do the fuck we want with it. So, yeah. To
might
your
wipe
own
our ass with
devices. Okay, guys. We love you. Bye-bye. 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 Bye.
Everything around me became suddenly unreal.